Here we are. Right, no. Right, Joel. Can you do me a favour, mate? Right, because it's been a while since I've done this. I would absolutely love for you to fucking pop on as a guest. Catch up on things. I'm sure you got a lot of stuff on your mind. I know I have. You know, we haven't spoke for a while, have we? Can you remind me how the bleeding hell I put my link into the chat so that you can then come on over? Because there's nothing. All I know is you go here, and then where'd you go? Oh, hang on. No, no. Sorry about that. Hang on, hang on. Nailed it. Nailed it. I've got it. I've got it. I've got it. So if you want to come on, Joel, you're the only person here. Dude, there is the link for you or anyone else that wants to come on. There you go, mate. If you're still there, if you fancy coming on, just let that thing light up a little red dot and I'll have you on, mate. Let's just sort this camera. Okay. Oh, yes. Ain't been a bad weekend. Ain't been a bad weekend at all. Be nice to get Adam on as well, wouldn't it? Yeah, I'd love that. I'd love to get Adam. What were you saying then, Joel? Let's get the wheel turning, dude. Well, it's there if you want, mate. Yeah, sweet. All right. So that's mad, that is, because when I seen you on the stream earlier, I thought to myself, you know what? I got a feeling I'm going to end up talking to Joel tonight, man. And here we are. Here we are, mate. Yeah, sure. Whenever you're ready, mate. Whenever you're ready. Oh dear. Have I got any more water over there? Hold on, I'm just gonna go to get some water out of the fridge myself. Hold on. Reload. Reload. That's so good. It's mad, isn't it, these days? Years ago, I wouldn't have dreamt of fucking getting a freezing cold Volvic out of the fridge, but how times have changed. Do you remember when you hardly ever used to see flies in the autumn or the winter? You very rarely saw flies. Every year in this fucking flat, when I've got the windows open, flies around the fucking lights all the way through, all through the year, all through the year. They're all over this block. They're all in the stairwells and everything, flying around the lights and everything. Anyway, just wait for Joel to come back and sort himself out. I went to see my mum earlier, and he was talking about that UFO I was talking about. Was it last Sunday or the Sunday before? Yeah, I was talking about that, and I was asking her if she remembered that night, and she did. She did. How could you forget something like that? I said to her, "There's at least 6 lights in the sky, and like shining, like as if someone was shining big torches down on the clouds, downwards, and you can see the spotlights on the cloud. Really strange, really strange." Jolie. Jolie, 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 Jolie. Oh, God. Don't intend to be on for long anyway, so. I've still got some videos to download as well. I've got so much stuff on my camera. I've got to get onto the YouTube. So much stuff. I need to sort it out soon because before you know it, I'll be in that new house and then I'll be busy sorting all that out. In between all that, no doubt there's going to be stuff going on in the skies that I want to film. And then the next minute you know it, I'll look up and it'll be spring and it'll start getting warmer. And then I want to start going out places to, I don't know, air shows or zoos or animal parks or whatever, days out. And my camera memory cards will be fucking rammed with stuff I haven't. Mind you, I do want to get a couple more memory sticks anyway, so. Anyway, Sensor, how you doing? You're all right, mate. Oh, thanks. Thanks for stopping. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah, I can't remember how long I've had this channel for. Can't remember. A few years now. But my neighbours above like to take the piss. Don't know what it is, but it is what it is. I mean, okay, in all fairness, I did just fucking blast the shit out of my music, but in my defence, they was doing that tapping way before I jumped on those fuckers. So, and it's in the common occurrence anyway, so I only get to go on these things now. Well, I only allow myself to go on them on a weekend now anyway. I could do it after fucking work at some point, but usually I'm too fucked. So, yeah. I'm kind of worried about all my vinyls all the way over at Kelly's because they're in the garage. And when you go in the garage, even though I've made sure they're all tightly wedged in each section, tightly wedged, I got as many vinyls in there as I could in each section. I'm still worried that something's going to happen to them. Like, I don't know, the possibility of them still finding somehow a fucking warping in the low temperatures. Or it's when it starts to warm up that I'm going to be more worried. But hopefully I'll be out of there before then. We'll be both in there. The bungalow that Kelly's dad was living in, her granddad's bungalow. The people that have bought that, they're moving in next Wednesday. That means that Kelly's dad has got to come over and move into the spare room at Kelly's. So we're going to be experiencing Kelly's dad for God knows how long now until we move ourselves. Oh, here he is. Oh, Sensem's come on. That's a surprise. Yeah, fantastic. Hold on, mate. Inside the place. Can you hear me?
I do,
There
Pete.
you are, mate.
How's he doing? I just know you had your own channel and all that.
No, yeah, I've had bits for years, Sensum, yeah.
Oh, mate, I didn't know.
Not years, but a fair few years, yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
no bother. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's good to
talking
hear,
about
mate.
the idols there, I've got a shitload. My mum and dad died they didn't die when I was young, but like in my early 30s, and I've got a shitload of vinyls of theirs, and I'm certain there's a few crackers in there. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I reckon there's a few. There's some shit in there as well, like fucking Lena Martell and the Goombay Dance Band and shit. But I reckon like some pretty decent shit in there as well.
Yeah.
So I keep on telling. The thing is, right, my kids, they don't believe me. I've got a rake of vinyl in these boxes. I just don't know what to do with them. Like, oh, what like, you know, goes, well, there's all kinds in there. There's Elvis, fucking Beatles, all sorts. But I'm telling you now, there's going to be the odd diamond in the rough. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, of course. And the more as well, the greater the chance, of course. So, yeah.
There's all sorts in there, mate. You know, in fact, there's a couple in there I remember distinctly years and years ago when I was a lad. Wasn't even a teenager. I'd be less than a teenager. And I was given. Do you remember Carl Douglas, bloody Kung Fu Fighting? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah. Original one of them is a 45. And also, at the same time, the lad who gave them to me, give me the original for the old Lalo Schifrin Enter the Dragon theme tune as well on a 45.
Ah.
And they're still there now. Now, I just reckon they're going to be worth much, but what I'm saying is, it's such an eclectic mix. You don't know what's going to be valuable, what's not going to be valuable. There's a boatload of originals in there from the Beatles, Presley, the Beach Boys. Yeah,
definitely going to want to hold on to them ones. I would hold on to them ones, mate. Yeah.
Well, that's what I keep on saying to them. Like I say, because my lad, believe it or not, my lad, he's into this youth called Logic. He's like a rapper stroke house music, sort of electronic music sort of shit. Yeah. And he really follows him. He likes him a lot. He likes his music he produces, etc. And this year, my daughter actually bought him a record player, like a proper record player, like a vinyl record player. The cheeky cunt. You know, he said to me, right, sorry for dropping the C-bomb on your channel. He said to me, he goes, yeah, what you don't realise is, you know, like some records. And I'm like, hold on a minute, youth. I'm like a kid of the 70s and 80s. I know what the fuck vinyl is, youth. You know what I mean? Don't be preaching to your dad about vinyl, because I know what fucking vinyl is. You know what I mean? It's like all this bullshit. And I was like saying, yeah, well, the thing is, depending on what you've got a different weight and everything. I said, now, if you have a heavyweight, you know, if you've got a really bassy fucking track, you know, like you've got a really bassy, low bass track, I said, you need a heavier weight on the needle because otherwise just keep on popping out. It'll just pop out. I said, but if it's not, it's just leave it as it is. And he's all this bullshit. And I'm like, yeah. Because what he doesn't well, he does realise now, but what he didn't realise was I used to know loads of lads who were bloody DJs and used to have the old Technics decks and that with the old slip mats and everything for doing scratching, mixing, DJing and all that malarkey. And he's looking at me as though I'm like one half struck. I said, no, I actually know what I'm talking about in this particular instance. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you don't know nothing. You're an old fart. You just know CDs. I'm like, no, I'm Gen X. I know about vinyl, mofo. You know what I mean? He's a good lad, but sometimes he assumes shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We all did that when we was younger.
Well, I used to know a lad who was a DJ, a proper DJ, and every now and again, he used to have a beat up Mark 1 Ford Fiesta 1.1L because it was a special model. It meant you could wind the windows down instead of them sticking. Do you know what I mean? And we used to go to this gaff in Manchester, and we used to trail all the white labels. Do you remember when? Well, you're a young lad. You probably don't know what that shit is, but we used to go to this gaff in Manchester. I can't even remember what street it was, but it was just at the top end of the A34 in Manchester. And we used to go to this place. He used to select all of these white labels. We used to be picking out all these names long before there were even industry names back in the UK. People like Curtis Mantronics. Do you remember him? Mantronics.
Yeah, Mantronics, yeah.
Yeah.
I like, there's a particular tune I like of his. Oh, what is it called now?
Got a way to get into your heart.
There's one that goes boom, 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 boom. I can't remember. It's a sick tune, man.
It's a great one. I tell you, that's the same one. It's got to find a way to get into your heart. Boom, boom, ba-dum, boom, ba-dum, boom, boom, ba-dum, boom.
Yeah. I like that one as well. I know exactly what one you're on about. I know exactly what one.
Well, are you thinking about Mantronics, the Groove, aren't you?
Yeah.
The Groove, yeah. And I'll tell you something now. Do you know another one?
I think it is that.
Sorry, mate.
What is it called? I've got it on a CD somewhere.
That was Mantronics, the Groove, wasn't it? I'm telling you now, that was Mantronics, the Groove, what you were saying there.
I've got it on a CD. I can't remember what it's called now. I can't remember. But like, what other than like Beatles and all that? Do you know what else is in the collection you got?
Mate, honestly, there's all sorts, but it's shit. Well, when I say it's shit, I don't even. It may or may not be collectible because it's mainly famous people. So there's a lot of Sinatra in there. There's a lot of. So it's mainly mainstream bullshit, yeah. But every now and again, there's a piece of shit that you wouldn't expect. So there's like, you know. Who else is in there now? A lot of Steely Dan. They're good. They're good mileage. Do you know Steely Dan?
No.
Do you not know Steely Dan?
The name rings a bell, kind of. Sounds familiar.
One of my favorite albums, and it's an industry, what they call like an industry standard album. You've heard of Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd?
Yeah? Yes.
They call that an industry standard. So it's by what everybody else measures their production to is like Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, yeah? Well, Aja by Steely Dan is another album which is on that same sort of level. It's it's an album where people won't necessarily, ordinary people, won't necessarily know any of the tracks or any specific. They might know the odd one here and there, yeah, but it's an album. They won't necessarily know it, but all of the top producers, all of the top mixers, all of the top mastering engineers will look to the likes of Dark Side of the Moon and Aja as being the sort of industry standard of mixing, mastering, all of the technology behind it, because they will say, you're obviously a muso, aren't you, Pete? You know what I mean? You know your music. If you're doing anything technical in music, you have these things what you call reference tracks, yeah? So if you're making a bit of music just for your own shits and giggles or for wherever, you know what genre you're trying to hit or what you're trying to aim for, yeah? So what you'll do is you'll pick out a track that sort of most suits, doesn't have to be in the same key or any shit like that. But you'll pick a track out that you'll say, right, that best suits the kind of music I'm trying to produce right now. Do you know what I mean?
On the nose, mate. On the nose. Too many times I'll be thinking of a certain tune. Yeah. Like, for instance, on Dave Waffle, that robot roll call thing that I done for him.
Yeah, that's mint. That's actually really good.
That is actually mapped. That is actually mapped off a tune called Ecstasy, a remix of a tune called Ecstasy. Yeah.
Right. Who's that by?
I can't remember. The tune's actually been taken over.
I know the title XTC, but
I think it's on After Dark Records. Yeah, it's a remix of it anyway, and I mapped it off that.
That's what a reference track is. So you have in your mind, you've got a particular vibe, as they say in the these cunts on these fucking channels and that. No, I've got this particular vibe in my mind. So what they'll do is they've come up with a tune, like it can be completely different tune, different key, different instruments, different bloody, arrangement. But in their heart of heart, they'll say, like, this is the vibe I'm looking for. Yeah. So they would take the original track that they're thinking in their heads. I want something like this. Yeah. And what they'll do is they'll segment off like a section of the track where they'll say, right, this is the chorus. This is my chorus. I want it to be on the same kind of sound levels and frequency levels as this, right? Because I want that same kind of vibe. And that's what most of the, when you look at some of the great music producers, because they talk about producers, don't they? Like producers like, Epstein, he was a producer for the Beatles and that, yeah? What Epstein actually did was, he took some of the stuff that the Beatles made and he went to mix engineers and he said, look, this is mint. This is a great track. How can we make it better? And it was the engineers, like the sound engineers that made these tracks went, whoa, that's great. You know what I mean? And then you could take it an extra level and send it to the mastering engineers and say, right, well, this is the absolute panacea of a track. How can you make it sound a little bit better? And nowadays, believe it or not, mate, nowadays we'll dumb it down a bit. If you're looking at mastering, if you're looking at the music industry, what they'll do is they'll say, yeah, well, what we want to do is, this is a great track, but it's pretty clean cut. So what we'll do is we'll add a little bit of what's called tape saturation in there, which is basically will make it sound a little bit murky, a little bit muddier than an absolutely pure clean cut track, because it sounds like the kind of sound that people actually enjoy listening to. Do you understand what I mean? It sounds daft, doesn't it? But
I get yeah.
It's great stuff, mate. It really is, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that since everything sort of went digital, there's a lot
Yeah.
of stuff I'm not aware of in the industry now. I recently caught up with a DJ that I've known for years. That I seen him doing his lives on Facebook, and I caught up with him and was telling him about how like he promised me a set somewhere after I give him a tape, and I went elsewhere and I give someone else some CDs, and nothing came of it. Despite them saying, "Oh yeah, we'll have you. You're good enough. We'll have you playing." And he said, he turned around to me, he said, "These days," he said, it's a lot harder to get into the industry now, mate." He says, "It's DJs all over the place now. Everyone's gone digital and that, and you see it on TikTok, Facebook, what have you. You got all these
Yeah.
young ones now getting on it, and you know, it's a good thing, but yeah, you just got to try and find your own way through it, ain't you? Really. I'm gonna be getting myself a PC, and as soon as I move, and try and go live, and
I tell you something now, mate. Honestly, I've been very. I've got my own. I've got my own. This is my own computer that I'm on now. Yeah, me own. Well, I say me own. It's my old computer. Yeah, this is a Windows 10. Yeah, Windows 10 laptop. It's not a high spec laptop, but it's alright. Do you know what I mean? It's like
mm,
only 8 gigabytes, which is very low in memory these days because a lot of them now minimum spec is 16. But I tell you something now, mate. I got this new piece of shit, yeah, that I carry around with me now. That's like me sort of traveling computer, which has got Windows 11. Honestly, Windows 11 is awful. It's really horrible. Um, if there's any way you can still get well, there are sites out there that says we can make Windows 11 like not as twatty as what it is currently.
yeah,
That twatty is a technical term, yeah. But I've never ever had. I was on with 42 last weekend, last Saturday. It was me, 42, and a few others, Dave Wafflehouse and Al Mack and that. And I was on this Windows 11 machine. Me new, what I'm saying is me new in quotes machine. And I was shitting myself because it was a piece of shit. Well, the machine itself is fine, but Windows 11 is such shit.
I think I might have came in on that, and you was having trouble, weren't you?
Oh man, I tell you now, it is the biggest bag of nails you'll ever encounter in your life. And you know what it is? What you got to be aware of, right? Is Windows 11 is a rate on its own. So you have these different release instances, yeah? And there was a Windows 11 release that was 23H something or HR or something like, or H2 or something. And that sort of performed like Windows 10, but it was an annoyance because it just changed every single thing that you did. Because like all of your menus were like swapped over, and your little digits at the bottom there, they were all mangled over all over the place. But then they brought out this thing called Windows 11 24 HR or 2024 HR. And that's the one that was on my machine, yeah. And what they do is they automatically put on this thing called Copilot. I don't know if you've ever heard of that because it's Windows, yeah.
Yeah,
Copilot is Windows interference, yeah. It's their so-called artificial intelligence helper. In other words, spy.
yeah,
Never ever assume when they say helper it means anything good. Do you remember that? I mean, you're clearly a younger lad than me, but I dare to know if you remember that paperclip that came out with fucking Windows aeons ago. There was
yeah.
this paperclip
with the bubbles and the little.
Yeah, yeah.
I know what you're on
It
about.
was
Yeah,
it was the worst piece of shit ever. So even back in the early 2000s, you opened up something like Microsoft Word, the word processor, and all you're going to do is write a letter to somebody. Dear fuckwit, I'm complaining because you're a twat. You know, that kind of thing, yeah?
yeah.
And as soon as you put dear and then put a semicolon at the bottom of it, it would go, I see you're trying to write a letter here. How would you like me to fuck it up for you? And it's like, no, fuck, you know what I mean? No, fuck off. I'm going to write my own letter. I know what I'm going to say. Yeah, well, your grammar's not very good. Fuck you. I'm from Stoke. My grammar's fucking perfect, you cunt. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's like, fuck you. But it was like,
worse
well,
than
Copilot.
fucking when you got spell check on. Worse than that, I guess. Yeah, you.
Do you know what I mean? Well, let me tell you now. Copilot is the modern version of that fucking paperclip. But the difference is, rather than it being confined and constrained by its sitting in fucking Microsoft Word or wherever, now it's got the entire tinterweb to its fucking thing. So you start typing something, you know, like, Chris Dangerfield is a cunt. I wouldn't say that in normal terms, but I'll just say it now. Chris Dangerfield. I see that you've used a derogatory term. Are you quite sure you want to use that derogatory term when you're writing to somebody and a blah 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 blah
Right.
and a this and that? And we found that 8 million references that this is like no. How's about fuck off? You know what I mean? It's like this. It's like that fucking interfering paperclip on steroids. So I disabled that fucker, yeah, and then they whammy you with this thing called recall. Oh, have you heard of Windows recall? And I'm not even fucking lighting you up here. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is 100% fucking fact. Windows, when you get Windows 11 and even the latest release of Windows 10, they install this thing called Windows Recall. Yeah. And what that does
I
is
can
without
imagine
you,
what it does with a name.
yeah, it's like total recall, yeah. But it's for your benefit. Yeah, but the thing is, mate, it's for your benefit. Like all of these things that they want, that the regime wants to sell to you, it's always for your benefit. Yeah. Don't think too deeply about this. This is for your benefit. Yeah. Windows Recall every 3 to 5 seconds is capturing what's going on your screen at any given moment. Yeah. And it's compressing these images because they're all JPEG images and encrypting them allegedly, and storing them locally on a machine. So on your machine, and like basically, when you get beyond a certain period, which is about 3 months, yeah, they'll allegedly delete off the old images that are not using and you're creating on the front end. So basically you've got a 3-month snapshot every 3 to 5 seconds of a capture of the image of your screen. Yeah. And they say it is, yeah, well, the reason why we've brought in Windows Recall that you can't disable, although I found out a way of doing it, you can't disable is because how many times you can't make this shit up, mate. They'll say, how many times you had this brilliant idea, it's this world beating millionaire's idea that all of a sudden you've forgotten about. Well, with Windows Recall, you can go back, what was that brilliant millionaire's idea that I totally forgot about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or a month ago? We can go back. Oh, yeah, that's what I was talking about. No, bullshit. Windows Recall is basically a spy on your machine that's basically capturing images every fucking second of your waking life, or every 3 to 5 seconds, shall I say, of your waking life. And then you've got Copilot, which is the AI that's basically fucking telltaling you on fucking Microsoft. They'll say, yeah, Recall's just been capturing these images, and I've been analysing these images. They look a bit far right for me. You know what I mean? It's like, hold on a minute, fuck you. You know what I mean? That's Windows 11, mate. You think I'm joking? I'm not even joking. You look those cunts up. They've got Windows Copilot, that's the AI vehicle, and Windows Recall, which is like this capturing images of your machine every 3 to 5 seconds, depending on how you've got it set up. But they enable them by default. This is the thing, you see. They automatically come enabled. So you have to physically go in for like Copilot and say, yeah, I want nothing more to do with you, you modern interfering paperclip twat. And Windows Recall's even more insidious, because if you go in and say, yeah, turn that twat off, it knackers your file system. So you have to actually go in and disable it. It's really insidious. But yeah, I mean, we've drifted off topic here away from music, but I'll tell you something now, just be aware, if you're going to get yourself a new PC, if it's got Windows 11 on there, I would be turning off Copilot and
thanks for that.
Scraping the tinterweb and disabling the old Windows Recall function, because that is literally Big Brother is watching you. Yeah. And they don't. This is the thing, right, mate? This is the thing, right, mate? If you're one of the elites who want to fucking persecute individuals, harm them, or do anything like that, like the Epstein fuckers and that, yeah, it won't give two shakes of a monkey's toss, yeah. But if you're a person who are opposed to what Dame Keir Starmer's doing, or what all these other globalist bastards are doing, they'll be reporting you like a twat. You know what I mean? It's absolutely insidious, mate. Yeah.
I'll be contacting you as soon as I get a PC, then, mate.
Yeah.
Be getting in touch.
I'm just telling you the way it is, mate. It's just
yeah. I don't doubt it. It's like they've got them fucking things in the sky now, ain't they? Like, it's like enemy of the state, ain't it? You can't go any fucking way now, can you?
No. Hey, I tell you something now, right? You know that enemy of the state with was it Will Smith and
Jack
Gene
Black
Hackman?
and Gene Hackman, Jack Black, and
that pretty lass. What was her name? Lisa Bonet.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something now, right? When you see those images, what's in what was it? What was that film? What was he just saying? Because it wasn't Conspiracy Theory, was it? What was it called?
Enemy of the State.
Yeah. Those images where you see Will Smith like pottering around the streets where he's trying to run away from shit, they're like the most worst low-res images you can ever get now. Because now it's like literally pixel perfect. They can pick you out from fucking wherever they want to do.
Yeah, I've heard they can read a text message on your phone, man. Clear as anything from all the way up there.
I was watching one, and this would be, well, do you know something, right? My first encounter with face recognition technology was back in 1998, and this was from a company. I can't even remember the name of what they were, but this was a company that specialized in facial recognition. And one of their first customers was Israel, with the Israel-Palestine border, that kind of thing, yeah?
Yeah.
And this thing, all it needed was 64 kilobytes, so 64K, or even 64 bytes, which was the point telemetry of the face, to work out if somebody who they said they were who they said they were. And they used it on their own employees who'd been working there for years. And they took images of these people back from, and this was in the 90s. So these people then were in their late 40s, and they had big bushy beards, bald heads, you know. But when they took the pictures that they trained the unit on, was when they first joined the company back in the early 80s, when they were like clean shaven, like fresh as anything, fresh as daisies.
And it still recognised them.
And it still recognised them with a
Like
99.8%.
and that was back then as well. Bloody
that
hell.
was 98. That was 98. Yeah. So, you know, where are we now? We're like 40 years, like 30 years later, you know, almost. And the technology is not going to go away. And I was watching a program, well, a Chinese program, where what they do is they can take any image of any person and literally within, 5 seconds identify exactly where on what social media platforms that they've appeared in and where they're going to be. You know what I mean? Like Facebook, Twitter, any shit like that, Instagram.
Sorry. Carry on.
Well, Instagram and all that malarkey. And, the thing is, there was a thing come up on, unfortunately, well, I'm with, the company I'm with who's does me internet is Virgin Media, get fast internet with them. And as part of the deal I've got with them, you get Netflix for free. You don't get Netflix for free. Do you know what I mean? But you pay for it, but it's in with a package. And one of their new things is this thing called the night, the night man, not the night manager, the night watchman or something like that. And it's about this, like, they've got this bloke who's just monitoring a phone 24/7, and when they've got spies all around the world, if they hit a bit of a snag or they get a bit of a problem or they think they've been found out, they ring this number, and the matey boy, he says, "Yeah, what's your code designation?" And they tell them. He goes, "All right, yeah, get to this place. We'll have an helicopter for you." And the start of this thing today, when I was just watching it, because it was on me recommends, have a watch of this fella, because you watched something else that was a bit suspicious, yeah? And it literally was like, oh, well, we'll do your facial tracking, we'll find out where you are, and we'll know who you are, and we'll do what you're going to do. And, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, that's exactly like this piece of shit that I was looking at, ages ago, but now it's linked to all social media. So they can literally take an image of an individual, run it through all these processes, and like pick out all of the images that's ever been, shared on the open internet with anybody else, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, Snapchat, WhatsApp, all these other things. And they know exactly who you are just by your social media presence. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
It's absolutely terrifying. But the thing is, I knew about that before these buggers on the TV were even saying, "Oh, yeah, we're doing that now." They were doing it years ago, mate. You know what I mean? They were doing it years ago. It's really, really, really shady. I'm telling you now.
And it's just shocking where you can find this now, because it's pretty much everywhere now, isn't it? You've
Yeah.
got face recognition on your speed cameras all around the cities, in the satellites and all sorts, and you just can't get away from it now. And it's just like you just got no privacy whatsoever, have you?
No. Well, like I say, unless, I mean, I'll tell you now, I'm only on YouTube, yeah, as you know, because you have to be a member of YouTube in order to broadcast on YouTube. Although I haven't broadcast anything for Yonks because I was just being a guest on people's chats for a while. and Telegram. But now they'd want to shut down Telegram, the same as what they're doing with TikTok, But the thing is, with TikTok, that's a different platform. That's more of that literally is more of a social media platform. The big worry that all of the so-called free world has is people talking to people on Telegram or any other channel where your view, even though it's legitimate, it's not part of the mainstream hegemon, and therefore you're singled out as a target. They wouldn't care. When I started on this bullshit, all I wanted to do was share music.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, that's all I ever wanted to do. I just wanted to come onto this platform and just say, here's some music. Have a bit of a listen. What do you think? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And instead, and the thing that annoyed me, and I started on this before the old sniffle, the old the old cough sniffle. I started on here. My first, and it was shit. I have to say now, from a production value quality, it was pretty shit, but most of mine are, because I just talk the truth. And it was the one about the strange case of Caster Semenya. Now, Caster Semenya is a South African athlete who was absolutely pilloried and castigated, because they were all saying, "Oh, she's a man. That woman's a man," and she wasn't a man. She literally wasn't a man. She just had male traits. But when they did all of the relevant tests, they decided all the Caster Semenya actually had from a biological perspective was that she had a slightly elevated level of testosterone, and that was it. She actually was a physical female, yeah, but she had a slightly elevated level of testosterone compared to other females. But what they didn't say was, in 2012, when it was the London Olympics, Caster Semenya came second to a Russian athlete, yeah, and it was only months later, because they tested this Russian athlete who'd been pumping herself full of all kinds of shit. And they said, "Yeah, well, we've got to rule out this person here because she was full of all kinds of shit." But Caster Semenya's tests at the time were completely normal or within the normal thresholds. So they removed the gold medal from that person. They gave the gold medal to Caster Semenya. The person who got bronze got silver, and the person who was fourth got bronze. Do you see what I mean? That's how it worked in 2012. And then in 2016, she ran and she won the race in Brazil. When the Olympics were held, I think it was in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And then all these monks go, "Oh, she's a man. She's fucking everything and under the sun." And it's like, but why are you moaning about somebody like Caster Semenya, who is biologically a female athlete, when in the same breath, and this was the one I couldn't square the circle on, in the same breath, you're saying that Laurel Hubbard, who was a male New Zealand athlete who decided to transition to be female, was now all of a sudden a female in the male weightlifting, category. So Caster Semenya, who was physically and biologically a female, was had to be persecuted because she had a slightly elevated testosterone level. It was a natural biological advantage, you could say, yeah? Whereas a bloke wearing a leotard, all of a sudden, had to be recognized as one of the greatest fucking women weightlifters in the world ever. It's like, you can't make this shit up. Mm-hmm. That's how I started on this fucking caper. I didn't even want to start on that. And I just said, this is wrong. This is wrong. Why do we have to accept fucking falsehood has been truth.
Right.
And that's how I started on this shit. And I've pretty much maintained my fucking standpoint. You know, if it doesn't make sense, if it's not truthful, and you can't prove that it's not truthful, then why should we accept it? You know, why should we be forced to accept it? Like I say, all I ever wanted to do, mate, was to well, I'll give you a brief history. You know, I'm an old cunt, as you know. I'm a I'm a bloke in my 50s. So my formative years were the 80s. The 80s was a great decade. I don't care what anybody says. The 80s was a great decade for music and all sorts. And in the musicology side of things, I cut my teeth. I knew quite. I'm not gonna grass them up or say who they were or anything. But back in my day, I used to know a few people who were called crackers. Are you into the term cracker? Like cracker, as in like a biscuit, a cracker, like Jacob's cracker, but it meant something different back in the 80s. And it was basically a set of lads who they knew a way around copy protection, shall we say. So if you were producing games or whatever in the 1980s, particularly on the Atari ST and the Amiga formats, they were called crackers because, you know, people couldn't afford to buy games back. You know, it's like the fucking, you know, was it 70 quid now for a PS5 game? You know, it's astronomical, isn't it? I think 75 quid is like rock. I mean, and this is the God's honest truth. This is the God's honest truth, and I will say this on my own eyesight and on my kids' fucking lives, and I wouldn't say that if I didn't mean it. Once I was earning my own living, in other words, once I was working for a living, yeah, I didn't get any sort of what can we say, sort of aye Sinbad, software, shall we say, none of these shiver me timbers software, yeah, because I was earning a living and I could afford to pay for it. Doesn't matter if it was DVDs, videos, games, whatever. From the day and hour since I've started earning, I've always paid for shit. Now, when I was a skint fucking, you know, bloody council house kid, I didn't want for anything. I had a great childhood. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't a poor kid by any means of the thing, but you know, some of these games were like astronomical. You know, they were more.
Oh, yeah.
If you were to look at how much games cost back in them days versus now, they were more expensive, believe it or not, based on how much money you had available to you. Yeah. So I knew these bloody cracker lads, and I used to do music for them for their intros and that. Yeah. And a few of the tracks on the intros and that got quite famous. Yeah. Running on a completely different pseudonym. And eventually I thought, you know, I'm not too bad at this shit. You know, I'm a rate. You know what I mean? I'm not too bad. You know, I'm getting decent comments from like people who fucking know. You know what I mean? And so I thought, yeah, I'll tap up some of these like top companies like Psygnosis and all these other people who are doing these top games, Ocean and whatever.
That's better.
And it was like, what music school did you go to? I didn't go to a music school. Okay, thank you. Bye. Okay, go to the next one. Okay, well, what music? It's like, yeah, no, I didn't do any of that bullshit. You know what I mean? I'm not. I didn't go to music school. I just know what a good tune sounds like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got blown. And I just thought, you know, fuck this for a game of soldiers. And I've always loved music. I've always loved creating music. Yeah, just for my own, just for my own benefit mostly. I used to knock shit up for people. I used to say, "Oh, can you do me something that sounds a bit like a Vangelis track?" Yeah, or can you do me something that sounds a bit like a such and such a thing? And I said, yeah, no bother. And I used to knock them something up. When I was, like I say, my musical, like sort of road, if you like, was from probably around about 1987, right around through to about, I'm going to say 1995. So almost, not 10 years, but almost 10 years. But in 1995, my music setup was fucking unbelievable. For my own personal purposes, was unbelievable. I had, if I just reel these shit off, yeah, I had a Korg wave station, yeah. That was like, you look at that fucker up. That was a lot of money.
Was that? Is that little? Is that
No,
little
no,
module?
no,
Are we
no, no,
talking
no.
a
The
keyboard
Korg
now?
wave station was an 88 keyboard, fully weighted keys. This thing was like $2,000 back in the day. Yeah, and I had that was about 91. I had whenever it first came out, because I was actually working. I had a reprieve because I was doing a college degree, but I did mine at a polytechnic. I didn't do it at a university. My college degree was at a poly, so that meant you had to go do a year's work in an industry. You had to prove yourself in an industry. So when I was working in an industry, I had a bit of coin in my arse pocket. You know what I mean? Because I was living with my mum and dad, but I had a bit of, I used to pay them. I used to give them board. Oh, we don't want that. I said, no, it's fair. Have a bit of board and that. You know what I mean? But I was minted because I wasn't courting. I didn't have a family. And like I say, when you reckon those things up, you had a lot of money. You had a lot of spare coin. You know what I mean? I had a lot of spare coin, and I used to invest it in shit like that. So when I had a Korg Wave station the full-on IAM keyboard, and there's a track by Mike and the Mechanics that used one of the presets in that. It was called. You remember that? As she pours herself a cup of coffee, it's like one of them one of the presets was on the Korg Wave station, and it literally was a preset that they used. And I thought, oh right, well I'm in good company here. I had a Korg M3R rack mount, which was the Korg M1 keyboard, which it used to be, but in a rack mount, which was just means it was a rack mount with all the technology except without the keyboard. I had a Roland SPD8 drum pad, which was an 8-pad electronic drum pad, which was it was a relatively small unit, probably about 2.5 foot wide by 1.5 foot long, with 8 pads, 4 at the top, 4 at the bottom. I had a Alesis SR16 drum machine. The reason why I picked that was because it had an absolutely mint representation of the Roland TR-808 and TR-909 drum machines, which were stupid money even back then in the sort of late 80s, early 90s. And I also had a Yamaha QSY-10, which was this tiny little module that you could take around. It had like a proper full keyboard, but it was like literally like a foot across. It was less than the width of a ruler and about half the size width-wise. And it was just a full-on sequencer. And I used to have one of them, and I used to pull them in. So I had a Tascam mixing deck, just general stuff as well. So I could do a lot of music stuff back in the day in my loft. My loft was almost like a music production studio.
Proper Mark Ribley date then, was you?
But I didn't use it for anything other than my own purposes. And other than for lads who I knew, people in the know, the cracking scene and all that, used to drop shit in there and, have a go at this one. I would direct into that. Yeah, that's pretty decent. I'll have a bit of that. And they were all good lads. They were all, the thing is, these crackers, they were ordinary lads as well. They weren't these fucking silver spoon motherfuckers. They were You know, one lad, he used to run a little market stall out of Stoke Market on a weekend. He used to sell these hooky copies of shit before the old clamped down on it and then it all disappeared. But prior to that, you know, there's a bit of my I was listening to some stuff on YouTube the other day that was for the Amiga 500. That was when I first started. Was when the Amiga 500 got big. That was a computer back in the 80s, 87, when the Amiga 500 got big. And I was listening to a few things like the top games, the top 10 games on the Amiga, blah blah blah. And when you saw them, they're all cracked copies, and a lot of the music that like accompanies them were like all bloody, you know, that the hackers sort of music providers and that, you know what I mean? It was like, because that was the way it used to be back in the day. You know what I mean? It was that was just the way that was just the way that it was. But then, you know, met the missus, and getting married was quite an expensive ordeal. So I sold all of my shit, and that would be sort of late 95, early 96. I literally sold all of my music equipment, and that was it. That was it for me. I never did another thing. Never did another thing. Literally never did another thing. And then the sniffle hit back in 2020. The sniffle, you know, the old the worst disease in the world ever, hit in 2020. And the fuckers, they said you can't play golf anymore because it's dangerous. I'm like, how the fuck does that work? You're outside. Yeah, it's date. All right, okay then. And I was climbing the walls looking for something to do. And I thought, I'll do a bit of the music then. I used to be all right at that. And that's how I got back into the music. And then I ended up doing the same shit again. I started my own YouTube channel, not even imagining getting into, you know, the so-called, the alleged far right circles. I'm not fucking far right. I'm pretty fucking far from it. Do you know what I mean? But based on the litmus test that these fuckers do now, yeah, I am. I'm as far right as it gets. In fact, I'm not far right enough. You know, if they think that Donald Trump is far right, I'm like, you know, 3 million miles to the right of him and Nigel Farage or Facade or whatever his name is. You know what I mean? But then I ended up doing the same thing again, getting into the music side of things, relearning the shit, but inside the box this time. So instead of having a boatload of bloody computer, you know, like keyboards and everything, hardware equipment, everything was inside the box. And I just started doing, you know, music shit for people who have got familiar with, like Bonnie Lad, etc., 42, Rags, or, you know, just doing That's Life But Not As We Know It. Do you know his channel? Doing bits and bobs for these guys. And it was because it was just a creative release, shall we say. I never ever want, well, say never ever. I don't want to make music for the purpose of, like, you know, pay me millions of pounds. It's always been a personal,
Yeah.
you know, oh, that sounds like a bit of a good track. I'll chuck that out there. Do you know what I mean? You know, and when I got somebody like Bonnie Ladd saying, you know, oh, you do a bit of music, don't you? Yeah, I do. Could you do me something that sounds a bit like, yeah, I'll knock something like that for you, mate. Or whether it's 42 or whether it's another or whoever, I don't care. You know, because the creative process is what keeps me sane, because that's my hobby. Do you understand what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, I already do what I do for a work, and I've got no delusions that I'll ever be able to do what I love to do, which is music for a living. Even though this was the thing that pissed me off, because back in the day, you know, you had these folks who were saying, "Oh, that's mint," and then when you went to the companies, Ocean or Psygnos or, you know, oh yeah, where did you study music at? I was like, well, I didn't study music, but if you look at this fucking thing here, it's the most popular thing at the moment on this particular, this fucking. I mean, yeah, no. We need these, fucking classically qualified musicians, and then they ended up with shit tunes. Most of the best tunes that you ever heard on all of those computer systems were by people like me, with just fucking freelancers. The one, the probably the one or two exceptions to that was a bloke called Rob Hubbard. Rob Hubbard is the god when it comes to computer music, particularly in the 80s. Rob Hubbard was imperious. He's just the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Rob Hubbard was, and then you had Galway, who did things like Whizball and that, running up alongside. But other than those guys, I don't know anybody in the music end who were these fucking, top end, went to Berkeley School of Music and shit, because it just didn't happen for computer games. Do you know what I mean? It was a very, very strange time when, where, how can I put it? Creativity was put in the backspace of, the educational side of it, shall we say? Do you know what I mean? But they were interesting times. I loved them. I thought they were great. The 80s was great. I mean, pity you missed it, because the 80s was the best decade ever. But having said that, most people always say that their formative year decade was great. But
who was that? Who was that guy? I love this. I love his music. The one that did Rocket. That electro tune.
Rocket.
Yeah. What's his name now? I love his music. He's really talented. Really good music, man.
I don't know.
That fucking tune. Rocket.
Jack Master Flash. You Jack Master Flash.
Is it him? Is it him? I'm not sure if it is Grandmaster Flash. Is it that does that tune? Oh, is it? I think Dave.
Yeah, sounds like Grandmaster Flash, isn't it?
Is it Grandmaster Flash? I don't think it is. Oh god!
Well, Blaster Jacks wasn't him, was it? You're not thinking about the remake, Blaster Jacks, are you?
Nah.
Oh, hey! I tell you what, I've just noticed in the chat there.
Yeah.
Got Dave's Waffle House in here. Yeah.
Burns in as well. Babushka.
I'm just going to say this now, right? You want to get Waffle Dave's house. You don't want Dave's Waffle House. You want Waffle Dave's house, because the calendar is better. The calendar is better.
Yeah. Does he do jigsaws?
Yeah. You don't want that jigsaw. What you want is the Waffle Dave's house jigsaw, and it's a 10,000 piece jigsaw, and it comes with one piece already missing. So don't worry about that. Yeah. I was going to drop onto his. I was traveling on Friday. I thought to myself, "Oh, this is great this weekend. I'm at home this weekend. Magic." And I was traveling back on Friday, and I got back. And when I got back, I was like, "What time would it be? 7:30 or so." And I had a couple of butties, and I thought, "Yeah, I'm going to bed." So I missed his chat on Friday, because I was going to sort of take the piss out of him, as I always do on a Friday, but I do it via means of a Tesco value chat, which is the freebie subscribers chat, and then I usually drop him a couple of coins to take the piss out of him, and to promote Waffle Dave's house, which is a superior channel, as you always know. 10,000 piece jigsaw, one piece missing. There you go.
And has he got a duck race on the go as well, no doubt?
I do know. Well, you're a young lad. You won't know this, but Dave will know it because he fucking old cunt like me. Anyway, but yeah. When we were kids, you used to get these things like Frosties. Get Frosties and get the Frosties jigsaw, or get fucking Kellogg's. Get the Kellogg's jigsaw. You could guarantee, even if it was like a 10-piece jigsaw, there'd be one piece missing, and that was always the frustration. That always, a 2-piece jigsaw, you get one piece, the other piece wouldn't be there. A 1,000,000-piece jigsaw, there'd be one missing. That was the way, because then you'd say like, and if you get next month's thing, you get the next jigsaw piece so you can complete it.
Oh man, I can't remember what. I think it was Sugar Puffs. I remember. Do you remember in the early 90s when you had like those old stereos? You remember the big stereos that you had with the turntable, and then you had the radio bit, and then you had the tape decks, and then your radio, whatever, and then you had little storage for your vinyls and that. Well,
yeah.
Well, we used to have one in there. I think everybody started getting them by then. And I remember we went shopping with the mum, and I think it was Sugar Puffs. We brought them back, and they were doing vinyls on the cereal packet, and all you had to do was cut it out, and it would play on the record player. It was wicked, and it was different tunes. You was looking in the Sugar Puffs to see what tune we could get and all that, and we ended up with that tune, "Pump Up the Jam, Pump It Up." That was our vinyl.
Felly, that was by Felly, wasn't it?
They would have been collector's items. They would have been. I should have got more. But I was only a kid. Yeah, I remember. They just reminded me about that.
That was Felly. Well, they were the foldy ones. The first time I ever. Do you know what? Right, this will tell you that I'm a kid of the 60s, kid of the 70s. Yeah, it was. My dad. He used to get the Marlboro magazine in the 70s, and in the 70s, used to get the Marlboro magazine, and you used to get like these little flimsy, wafer thin vinyl things that you could put on top of the thing. And one of them was like Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and all of that kind of crap, But yeah. I just dropped in on the old chat there just to have a quick chat. Oh, Auschwitz Buskers in. Hello, Flower. How are you doing? Hope you're not well. Yeah, I'm all over the not end these days, so I never know where I'm going to be. So bloody hell, fire.
Thanks, Dave Waffle, by the way, for sharing this. I appreciate that, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, that's how I dropped on it, because I come on and I thought, you dropped the link in. I thought, yeah, fuck it, I'm doing now tonight.
Well, I'm supposed to be Joel. I don't know what happened to him. He's still here in the chat, I presume. But
time to get his ass on. You know what I mean? Fire.
I'll tell you what. I'll post out the link one more time. We'll see if he.
I'll tell you what. What am I doing here? We'll
anyone wants to say hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye. I mean, I ain't going to be on here for much longer anyway, because I've got work in the morning, so I should go in a bit, really. I'm only stay on for another half an hour, pushing it, and I'll have to go then. I really will. Kelly's just came in earlier. She wanted me to put this on her back. I was like, I can't listen to Sense and maybe you're thinking in your back. She says, well, I says, I'll do it in a minute. She says, I'll be asleep by then. I'll do it when you're sleeping then. Oh, I bloody love these guys.
Right, I'll tell you what, then. If you're waiting for that youth to come on, what do you fancy? I'll chuck you a bit of music. Can you show videos of your thing?
Who we got? Oh, Jolie. What was you saying, Simpson?
I can chuck you a bit of music in. What do you fancy? What kind of thing are you fancying at the moment? Here's Joel in. Hello, youth. How are you doing?
You all right, mate?
You all right, Joel?
Yeah, just chilled out in bed. Well,
Good lad.
Just chilled out on my bed back in my camper van, innit? I'm just
good lad.
Listening to showing that rather interesting things that Samsung on about and that, discussing and that, computers and stuff.
Hey, the bush in.
Windows for you that though, isn't it? You know what I mean? Damn computers.
Oh dear.
Windows for you that though, isn't it? You know what I mean? Have we got a lag?
Hold on a minute.
It's just House of a Bus because you just need to turn off for YouTube. That's all. The audio on a YouTube and just listen to the stream yard. That's what usually happens. House of a Bus because you just need to turn off for YouTube. That's all. The audio on a YouTube and just listen.
Hello.
Hello, Flower.
Hello.
Shucks. I'm a noob when it comes to this kind of stuff. Hello, Sensum, darling. How you doing?
Hello, Flower. How you doing? Yeah, long time. I've been busy. Well, I've not been busy working. I've been busy up and down the country because my lot have flown the coop. You know what I mean? So, oh shit, I'm on my own.
I'm directly back in.
What's going on here? I'm on my Johnny Lonesome as close as I can see.
Hold on a minute. I'm just fucking about here.
That's a technical term.
Damn computers, like I say.
There we go.
See, as soon as I enter the bloody room, it goes to chaos.
Yeah, I know. That's usually me, though, isn't it? You know what I mean? What do you fancy? What do you fancy? Fancy a bit of music? I tell you what, let's have a bit of sense of music. What do you reckon? What do you fancy? And there's a bit of music from me. I'll chuck you a bit of music in. What kind of vibe are you fancy? I've got a ravey track. I've got a whatever. You know,
I'll tell you what. Surprise me, mate. Surprise me.
What do you fancy? I can chuck you in a piss take track, which is 8-Bit Police. That's a good one. That's always a good track for people. I've got a fucking Vangelis type thing. I've got a nice, easy listening type thing. What do you fancy? House of Babushka, what are you fancying? A bit of music. What do you fancy?
Number 2.
What, a piss take? You want a piss take track? Yeah.
Sounds good.
Here we go. Have a piss take track. This is a good one. Have a listen to this fucker. This is good.
Have you got your teeth in? Because it sounds like fists you're saying.
Piss take.
We're back in a sec. Hold on.
Oh, he's gone, hasn't he? I've presented it. It's in the chat anyway. He's buggered off. Here we go. This is not my usual setup anyway, so I just don't know if I'm any better than what I was before, but do you know what? Fuck it.
Sensum, I updated my mobile phone, yeah? It's one of those old Nokia ones, and I updated it. Oh my God. No one told me you had to swipe to answer the phone.
Yeah.
And I kept pressing the friggin' button. Yeah, I can't stand them. They do me head in.
Yeah, I've had to have a new one. Mine's one of these Motorola's fucking G4 or something. And honestly, it's a pile of shite. Anyway, can you see that in the chat there, Pete? Can you see that one in there? 8-bit police. Oh, dear me. Sinuses have been like shit as well. Bastard.
Nope.
It'll look like a person in the chat.
I can't find nothing.
Here we go.
Where are we looking? Have you just dropped it in the chat?
No, it's in. It'll be in like where people come in, where you can speak to them.
Right. Okay. Hold on.
It's rude because it's like ordinary people shit.
I can't see nothing, you know.
Ordinary people, too.
One. Is that it?
There we go.
British fucking police!
Select that.
You fucking brain dead cunt! British fucking police! Fuck my life! Shut your fucking mouth! You fucking brain dead cunt! Shut your fucking mouth! British fucking police! Paid what, 20 grand a year to be a fucking knobhead? You fucking pathetic!
Be nice to see you.
Look at the fucking state of this! Brought me fucking door! Shut your fucking mouth! You fucking brain dead cunt! Shut your fucking mouth! British fucking police! Right, dickhead. Right, dickhead. Right, dickhead. Fucking idiots. Shut your fucking mouth. You fucking brain dead cunt. Shut your fucking mouth. British fucking police. What are you doing in the house? You fucking brain dead cunt. Look at the fucking state of this. Brought me fucking door. Paid what, 20 grand a year to be a fucking knobhead? Fucking idiots. Fuck my life.
Yeah, man, I like that.
So how the bleeding hell do I do that then?
You are.
Can I just paste? What? I used to know how to do that. Someone's taught me how to put another screen up and just throw your stuff on there, but I can't remember how to do it. It's been a while since I've done
I don't know. I never know how this shit works. I just know that somebody else knows and they tell me and I go, okay, I'll do that then.
Yeah, that's what I need. Oh, blimey. Poor people still out, aren't they?
It's quiet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Must be a full moon. Oh, I'll tell you something now. Hey, do you know something? I'll tell you something now. On my on my thingy, because I swapped internet providers, I've gone to Virgin. I'm not a virgin, by the way. I was married to one woman, you know, once. But yeah, on Virgin, yeah. Do you know what I watched the other day? And I thought, oh, that's mint. That's a great film. I love that film. The Howling. Have you ever seen The Howling?
No.
Oh, mate. Oh, you're missing out. If you've never seen The Howling, there was two films. There was American Werewolf in London, and then there was The Howling. And they are like the best werewolf films ever.
Would you rate The Howling over the American Werewolf in London?
No.
They equally as good, do you think?
No. American Werewolf's better.
Better.
But The Howling's a close second, yeah. Have you ever seen American Werewolf, Youth? Have you ever seen American Werewolf? Oh, mate, honestly, you're missing out. You're missing
Is
out.
that where bits of him starts falling off and he puts it in the bathroom cabinet? Or is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the Howling. That's the Howling one, yeah. Yeah.
That sounds familiar, actually. Maybe I have seen it.
American Werewolf in London ones where Jenny Agutter, the beautiful Jenny Agutter, sort of gets them out for the boys yet again, because she always used to get them out for the boys. She wasn't backwards and coming forwards, that lady. But that's a great film. I tell you what, American Werewolf in London is a mint film, one of the greats, absolute greats. If you haven't had a chance to see it, it's mint. There you go. He's Waffle Dave's house here. Sorry, Dave's Waffle House straight in there. The Howling is great. Yeah, you and your skanky 100-piece jigsaw. You want to get Waffle Dave's house 10,000-piece jigsaw. He's right. Yeah, American Werewolf is one of the best. I will say that now.
Sorry, have you watched the new Alien movie?
Romulus.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. Any good?
Oh, it scared me. I'm not going to tell you anything about it, obviously, but I thought it was pretty good. It was.
Is it a rate? Is it a rate? Because some scabbies have been saying it's shite. But if you say it's a rate, I'll give it a watch.
It's like going back to the beginning. Yeah. What did you think of it, Dave? The ending was weird.
Yeah. The thing is, Alien movies' endings are always weird because they like to leave a little bit of an opening. Do you know what I mean? But I thought Alien was mint. I thought Alien, the original Alien, was mint. I thought Aliens was absolutely the best fucking 80s film in the world ever. It was just got everything. In fact, I bought on Amazonian Prime there. I've bought the UHD version of Aliens because it's that mint. But I'll tell you something now. I didn't mind Alien 3. Alien 3 was alright. That was the one that had Brian Glover in and bloody Charles Dance and all the British actors in. I thought that was all right. I thought that was all right. But the fourth one was pretty shit.
Oh, no, it was Tetley's, wasn't it? Tetley's. Yeah.
So you had Brian Glover. Yeah, Brian Glover, Charles Dance. Aliens, I tell you something now. I don't read books anymore because I'm fucking twat. But I listen to books, and I listen to the proper book of Alien 3. 10 times better than the film. But I enjoyed Prometheus, the so-called follow-on or the prequel to the original Alien. And I didn't mind the Covenant one either. That was all right. Hey, it's Packer. How are you doing, Youth? Youth, how are you doing? I just mind that one. But I'll tell you something now. I've got this thing called Audibles. I don't read books anymore. I listen to them more than I read them. And they've got these originals on Audibles, the Aliens original series, and one of them is like sort of the bridging gap between when the Ripley character reawakens like 60 years later or whatever, and before they land on that new planet, before Alien starts, yeah. So it's like the little bit of filler gap between when the Aliens film, they're going to descend and land on the planet, and all the shit that kicks off after then, and the bit before that's a great story. That's a really good story. Really good story. It's not a film or anything. It's like an Audible original, I think they call them. That's a really, and that's like a dramatization, like a 2.5, 3.5 hour dramatization. That's mint. Really, really, really good stuff. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. But I've not seen Romulus. Now, House of Babushka, where does Romulus fall? Where does that fall? Is that before like Alien 1?
No, I think it's afterwards. Yeah. I don't want to give too much away if you haven't seen it.
No,
Yeah.
I haven't. No.
I think it's a bit of time later when. No, sorry, I've got to shut up. Otherwise, I'm going to spill the beans.
Fair enough. Yeah, I ain't seen the one before that, actually, to be honest with you.
I thought that was crap, and the character in it, David, he did me head in. Yeah, I thought they were lacking imagination, and it was like they didn't really know where to take it. Do you know what I mean, Sensen?
Yeah. You're 100% right in what you're saying there, because like sometimes you get like the end of a bloody film, but they don't know what to do with it. But I actually quite enjoyed. Do you remember? Was it that? It was Prometheus, wasn't it? It was Prometheus, which was the forerunner, allegedly, to Alien. So they'd sent this ship out to this planet.
Yeah.
And it had that Noomi Rapace lady in it as like the main character, and Charlize Theron, and Michael Fassbender played the sort of the simulant or whatever they were called, the artificial life forms in there. And it started off where you got these like fairly generic androgynous humanoid life forms that turned up on these random planets and allegedly give their DNA to these planets in order to create societies and what have you. And then they decided, oh yeah, we don't really want these human fuckers because they're bastards. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a total bastard. So yeah, you can fucking do what you want with me, youth. You know what I mean? And they sort of go back to the main planet with Michael Fassbender as the alien and whatever. And I think Ian Griffith plays the original bloody, the what's it called, the Wyatt Corp or whatever it's called, because they want to meet their maker. So eventually they managed to resurrect one of these fuckers, these like 7 foot tall wank stains. And he looks at us and he goes, oh, fuck me, what a bunch of no-marks you are. And he swats away the fucker who's paid all these millions of pounds and whatever to, like, in order to speak to his creators and everything. And
in a second,
he just fucks him off. And then he decides, oh, right, well, maybe this isn't the best. And then he tears the Fassbender character in half, so he ends up being a bunch of milk and sausages. But the
robot always gets torn in half in Aliens. Have you noticed that?
You what, mate?
In whatever Aliens film, the robot always gets torn in half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing with what was it in the first Alien film? Ripley sort of sticks a couple of electrodes into what's it called, Ian Holm, the Ian Holm character, and she says like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" And then in the second one in Aliens, they've got old Lance Hendrickson being this sort of the half ship commander, and they resurrect him in Aliens 3 because he's like the half sort of simulant or whatever they're called in Alien 3, and then they do the same with Michael Fassbender. You know, it's like you can't get away from this shit. It's like you would realize by now that these fuckers aren't trustworthy. But yeah, no, I am. But I think that you got to be. I've not seen the Romulus, so it might be pretty decent. So I don't know what to say. But all I will say is Alien 4 with Winona Ryder in, that was utter shit, wasn't it? That was just like and I wouldn't care. They had like great actors in there, like Michael Wincott.
Yeah.
Bloody, all these other people in there.
Was that the prison one?
Yeah, that was just shit. No. Alien 3 was the prison one. That wasn't too bad. That had Brian Glover in.
It's with resurrected Ripley from DNA, something like that. And they were on the ship. Yeah.
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 On the fourth one, that was Brad Dourif. That was Brad Dourif.
He played Hellboy, didn't he? What's his name?
Ron Perlman. He was in it.
Is that his name? The one with the big fucking chin?
Yeah, he was in that film. I tell you what, right? I've never liked him. He was in a series in the 80s called Beauty and the Beast. Had that bird in from the Terminators, and then it had him in. And he looked great, didn't he, as a lion? And he looked like fucking shit when he was human. That Ron Perlman's. Was he? Yeah, that's him, isn't he? Ron Perlman. Yeah, he was. But I tell you what, he was in a film. It shit me up like fucking nothing. A film called Name of the Rose. And he played this character called Cagliari or something like that. He looked like a weird cunt in that. He was a fucking weird look. Oh, that gave me the shits, that did. You ever seen that one, Name of the Rose?
I watched it a couple of weeks ago, Samson.
Oh, give me the shits, that did.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
It's quite raw, isn't it?
Yeah. But you know what I mean about that Ron Perlman? He was like, Father Cagliari or something like that. He looked like a weird bastard, didn't he? You know what I mean? Weird fucker. Oh,
he played the part well, didn't he?
He did. But he was a weird bastard, didn't he? What was he now? Father Santiago or something like that. He was, honestly, I had the horrors just thinking about him. He looked like the worst one there ever. Have you never seen that Name of the Rose? Pete, you ever seen that? The Name of the Rose? Oh, it's a great film. It's a mystery film. Sean Connery and that Christian Slater, he's in it. Sean Connery, Christian Slater, F. Murray Abraham, but Ron Perlman's in it as like a bit actor, like Father fucking Ugly Bastard or whatever his name is. Oh, I'll tell you now, it's fucking shocking. He's the scariest bastard in it, that fucker. Tell you now. What's old Waffle Dave's I was talking about now here? Look at this here. Oh, tell you, I'm going to have to come on next Friday, give you a 10 to shut you the fuck up. You know what I mean? I'm only joking, Dave. You know I'm only joking. You know I love you. You know, I think Dave's Waffle House is one of the most. If you're having a shit day, it doesn't matter what day it is. If you're having a shit day, Dave's Waffle House makes it better. I'm telling
he's up to his fucking game now, Sensen. He's well up to his game. He's
don't be talking about duck races and shit like that.
He's giving away Bluetooth speakers for fuck's sake, like shit you might actually want.
I've got black teeth. Does that count?
Useful.
What's going on?
Yeah, I'm after one of those Bluetooths for me tank.
Hey, what happened to Joel? Where's Joel gone? Where's he gone? Oh no!
Oh, did Joel drop out? Did he? I didn't notice.
I just no. I hope he hasn't gone because I tell you what it is. He thinks we're boring fuckers because he's like got an IQ of 900 and we've got one. and that's shared between us. I've only got 0.1 of a night.
Christian Slater.
Hey, what you on there? Yeah, Christian Slater in The Name of the Rose. Yeah, that was a good film. F. Murray Abraham, Sean Connery, Christian Slater, bloody what's his name, Ron Perlman. I'll tell you what, Salieri, that was him. No, it wasn't Salieri, was it? Salieri was F. Murray Abraham in Amadeus, but it was something like Salieri that Ron Perlman was playing. Well, no, I tell you now, he's an ugly cunt anyway, but he looked like a particularly ugly bastard in that film. But the thing is, I only knew him from being in Beauty and the Beast when you saw him as this like lion fucker. Do you remember that one, Packer? Beauty and the Beast.
I didn't see it, but there is. I never watched it, but online there is a picture of a ginger cat that looks like Ron Perlman.
Well, you look at Ron Perlman, honestly,
next to him, and it fucking looks like.
He was called Vincent. His character in this TV series was called Vincent, and it was called Beauty and the Beast, and it was Linda Hamilton off Terminators and Ron Perlman. And when you see him, when he's done up as Beauty and the Beast,
really,
what was the other fucker's name from Amadeus? Fuck me, I can't remember him. The dad, he played Amadeus's dad. That's all I can remember. But when you can, like I say, Beauty and the Beast, it was Ron Perlman when he looked like the beast, like the lion-looking bastard. And you think to yourself, oh, what a poor bugger. He looks like that lion sort of shit there. And then you see Ron Perlman, you think, oh, fuck, he looked better as the lion. Do you know what I mean? He looked better as the lion. You know what I mean?
He just looks like a shaved lion.
But I tell you what, that was a good series, that actually. It was like, that was a whodunit type of series as well. Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what. I've watched too much telly in my fucking time.
What do you win that?
Anyway.
I'm liking these John Wick films at the moment. I want a fifth one to come out. And I got a rough idea how they can. John Wick films.
I saw the first one where his dog got killed.
Yeah.
His puppy. What's that all about? That was a good film.
Hasn't got any better sense of.
Hey?
Since the dog got killed, his day hasn't got any better.
No, it hasn't.
That talks about them. But the thing is, I see film trailers now that says better than John Wick 2 and better than John Wick 3. I'm like, I haven't seen those cunts, so I haven't got a fucking idea what they're about. You know what I mean? So the one I tell you one that I do quite fancy having a watch of. There's the one called The Worker or The Workman with Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Like a fucking brickie or something. I'm quite fancying that one.
Yeah, I ain't seen that myself yet.
Special X Forces.
Jason Statham in it where he races against time where everybody's after him.
Yeah, these plasterers and chippies are after him. He's a bad brickie, you know. I was looking at this film. Honestly, I wish I could remember. The Workman. It's called The Workman or The Work, whatever it is. And he's like working on a building site, and there's like some bloke got a beef with him, and he's like, yeah. He's like, the usual Jason Statham. Yeah, you know what I mean. I don't need to talk about it, but fucking these brickies don't fucking talk to me. I know plasterers and fucking chippies. And he's like, is that Jason Statham Central?
I bet it's a hot day and he's got his shirt off as well, isn't it?
It's just like he's working on a building site in the middle of London, completely not being harassed by the fucking foreign element that exists there, of course, because
no one speaks Polish.
But yeah, so old Jason Statham, he decides that that's It's not as good as that. We've got Lawrence of Arabia in now. Who we got in here now? But yeah,
Is it
that's a good
working
flick.
now? Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Right, I didn't know if it was working or not. When my phone booted me out, it went red hot. I just had to put charger up its ass. It was booted me off.
We wondered where you went.
Yeah, I got booted off, right, to phone. Right.
Yeah, I had to get my charger
Technical
before
issue,
it all
that's all.
went, because otherwise it would have been game over.
Yeah, I'm Lawrence of Libya's here now. Look, I've got my jewels on and that, innit? Prince Abidali.
Oh, was it the
Yeah,
music?
man,
That
Well,
Alien
I'm going
films
to
are
have to go
so
now
fine,
anyway,
you know.
guys, because it's getting late, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great, man. Dave, can't thank you enough, man. Thanks for all you guys coming on. It's been great, but if I stay on any longer, I'm going to fall asleep on you. So
Yeah, no bother, mate. God bless you. I didn't
Yeah.
even know you had a channel, Pete. So God bless you. I'm
Yeah,
a sub
yeah.
now.
I've got a music channel as well, but I haven't
Yeah,
really
you should have dropped that in.
put music on it yet. So that's something for the future. Yeah, cheers, Dave. It would have been like this without you, mate. Thanks. Honestly, I can't thank you enough, mate. That was great. That was. You've got you guys in. That was great. That was. Yeah, fucking fantastic. I hope you can all come back again, and if you've got time, this is great. Yeah.
Yeah, mate. Just
Yeah,
like
anytime,
say,
Pete.
if we're around, you know, magic darts. You
I can gab for Liverpool, so that's okay.
know. You're all right, Flower. No bother.
Babushka was there as well, weren't she? And Packer, when you was having trouble with your Windows, when you was over at 42s, weren't you? Because I came in for a bit, and there's quite a few users on there, and I just listened. I did, because I don't really follow that politics, so I just listened, and I kind of grasped a lot of what he's saying, but other stuff it's like, don't know who you're talking about. So yeah. It's good when you can get a load of people
He
on.
had that Australian bird on, didn't he? They was talking over my head as well. I just sat there and said fuck all for about 2 hours while them two didn't get a room. It was.
Oh yeah, what's it? Yeah, the thing is, right? You know, last week, 42 said to me, he said, "Well, no," I said to 42, "Well, you know, what are you doing tonight?" No bother. Oh, I've got next weekend sorted, which was Linda Hunter, Dawn, and the Cure for Culture, or whatever his lady, or whatever.
Courage is the cure. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Courage is the Cure.
Very nice.
And so I thought I was surplus non grata. And then I noticed today when I logged on today, he said, "Oh, yeah, here's the link for tonight." I'm like, oh, shit. I thought I was persona non grata. Do you know what I mean?
So about 3 hours before the stream, he got hold of me and he said, "Simpson's supposed to be on, but I ain't got hold of him. I can't get hold of him. No reply. Do you want to step in?" So I said, "Yeah, of course I do. I'll just come on and sit there. It don't matter. It doesn't matter to me."
Yeah. Anyway, like, you know, there's a bit of music in there. If you want to go out with that one, mate, you can use that one. I'll drop you the proper link if you want. You can have it for yourself. But I've dropped that in if you want to use that as the goey outy tuney.
Yeah, great. Let's have it. Thanks, everyone. Good night. Just see what this is. Yeah. Sweet. Okay, thanks, everybody. I'm going to bed. Good night. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.